Hi Agility Gang. So obviously it's a difficult time at the minute and we're all in lockdown, and most of us are trying to keep things going, things ticking over as much as possible. Now at Chorleywood Dog Training, we're working really hard with all the other classes to give them some virtual training from home. And we've been having a little think about how we can help you out, the agility guys. So we've come up with 6 weeks of exercises that we can be doing with our dogs at home that are going to benefit us in that agility ring. So today we're going to look at taking you through week 1. We want you to be training your dog at home, practicing with your dog. It gives you something extra to take your mind off all the stresses at the minute. Now, how to do this? 1, you're going to follow these videos, and these videos are going to be uploaded in our members area. I've put the link to the members area in this message, and I've also added a Facebook group called Chorleywood Dog Training Membership Online. So we want you guys to join that group. And this is for you agility guys that are booked in with Jill at the minute. It's only open for you guys. This is specific instead of your classes that we would be offering over the current period. We welcome your support and thank your support for all you've done at Chorleywood Dog Training to help us build up from what was 1 class a week of that Tuesday class that we used to run, all those, or 2 classes a week. Gemma had Tuesday and I had Saturday. So we've built that up for over 6 years into the business that Chorleywood Dog Training is. However, we're looking to adapt, and we have to adapt with the times at the minute. So these are our virtual classes that we are really excited to bring to you. So get started with the first 3 exercises from week 1. One of the things that's really going to help with your agility runs is going to be being able to start your dog in different positions. So we call this the start position. Now the start position is basically a sit-stay, but it's got to be a lot stronger than a general sit-stay with your dog. Why? Because the drive in your dog is what makes your dog go fast over the jumps, but also the drive for going over the jumps and the drive for going through the tunnel and going over the kit, the excitement for doing the game itself makes it harder for the dog to sit-stay. So we recommend picking a good position for your dog. Now this could be a stand stay, it could be a sit stay, it could be a variation of a sit. So with one of my dogs, I know our strongest position is the middle position. So it would be better probably to get her into the middle position and then work on the start position from there. Some dogs it's going to be a sit, some dogs it's going to be a stand, some dogs it may even be a down. But we've also got to think about speed out of this. So a down, when you say go and you call the dog out of the down, it's going to be slower for the dog than a sit or a stand. A stand is probably going to be your quickest, but also the sit is going to be good and keep your dog in position. This enables you to get further up your course and get further away from your dog. As we all know, keeping up with these dogs is the hardest part of the game. So that's going to be our first part on our start positions this week. And you don't have to have kit, you could put just a line on the floor. But remember, when you're adding in your distractions, so you might have to start off sit staying the dog with your body facing the dog. And then you can see me leaving my dog with my back to me. So as normal, I'd be looking at the course. In the agility ring, I'd sit stay my dog. I'd be looking out at the course, looking out ahead of me. If I'm having to stare at my dog for the whole time, then I'm going to bump into the kit. So, and then obviously you can see I haven't got much distance here behind me, much room behind me to move the distance on. But you guys at home, you can move your distance on, build in your distractions. But remember, if the dog breaks, don't be afraid to go back slightly. We call it a variable reinforcement. So sometimes I might reward the dog for me being 3 steps away from them and doing a small distraction. And then I might go up to being 5 steps away from them, doing a small distraction. And then I might go back to 5 steps again with an even bigger distraction. But then I might go back down to 2 steps with a bigger distraction. So I'm variably variably increasing the difficulty of my exercise, and gradually it gets harder and harder for the dog, and I reinforce every succession of the dog's successful behavior. Enjoy. Okay, so agility guys, next behaviour we're going to look at working on with our dogs that's going to benefit us when we're in the course is our contact points. So our contact points, what are we looking for? We're looking for the dog to, when he goes over the dog walk or the A-frame, we're looking for the dog to leave their back paws on the object. So you guys know that the dogs have to come down the dog walk, hit the contact point before they leave the object. Otherwise, it's a safety issue, as well as you're going to lose points if you're running competitively. We can do this by building up that rear paw target onto the object. So even if we don't have a agility kit or a bit of agility kit or an A-frame at home, we can still work on the rear paw contacts to an object, and that behaviour is easily transferred into the agility ring. So what I'm going to use behind me, I've got a little, just a piece of board which is big enough to place my dog's back 2 paws on. If you want to use, you can use anything. You can use, we use the cat litter boxes in the field. So you guys that come to classes already, you know that we use those cat litter boxes, and we teach paw targets with those, teaching the dogs to stand in position. Now, the behaviour in general is going to be very similar to a stay once we've got it, because we're going to be teaching the dog to hold the position. So it's control in your agility ring. It's being able to release the dog from the agility piece of kit, like the A-frame or the dog walk, and then on to the next bit of kit safely, as well as efficiently, as well as not doing it looking rough or losing marks in competitive competitions. So I'm going to lure my dog over the target, and when her back paws land on the target, I'm going to reward that behaviour to start off with. Okay, so you can see me luring my dog over the object there, and then when her back paws land on the object, I'm using a marker, and then I'm feeding the dog in the position. So you did see it, first of all, she did only leave 1 foot on there, so I rewarded 1 foot first of all, and then I lured her up and got 2 feet. I gave her a couple of rewards for holding the position, and then I reset her to go again. On, I think it was rep 3 or rep 4, she sort of sat. And ideally I don't want the dog sitting on the dog walk or sitting on the contact point. We want the dog in a stand with their back feet on that contact, ready, looking at you, ready to go to the next bit of kit. So next stage is to be getting the dog to hold the position whilst you move on a bit further forward. So then practice, this could be you sending your dog over the dog walk, and then they hold their back feet onto the bit of kit, and you can then move to the next bit of kit before you release them, so they come directly to you and onto the next bit of kit. It's a nice control exercise, and you can practice this anywhere with your dog, and it can be any sort of target that you use, as long as it's big enough for the 2 back feet to fit on. Only needs to be raised slightly, so tiny little bit off the floor is good enough. You can see I've got about 1 inch or so off the floor with my target. Let's go. Okay, so with the contact behaviour, our first point of call is to get the behaviour on our chosen piece of object. So back paws on the object. We're then going to look to try and teach the dog to hold the position. Okay, so just like a stay, a bit like the start stay, you're going to start adding in distractions and you being able to leave the dog in the position with your back to them, so you're looking at the next piece of kit. If your dog breaks, as you can saw there, Cookie's a bit excited and she broke a couple of times. You're just going to reset them and you're going to go back for an easier rep. So if your distraction, you saw when I moved my feet too quickly or I ran, she got excited and came with me. So what I did was I just slowed my feet down, slowed my movement of my feet down, did less of a distraction, which I thought she could cope with, and then I rewarded that, and I'm gradually going to incrementally build that up. So hope that one explains your contacts exercise for this week. We're going to be looking to move this exercise on over the next coming weeks, so please practice, post up your videos in the members only Chorleywood Dog Training membership online group. or send them over to me via email and we'll give you some feedback on them. Okay, so our last behaviour we're going to go over for the agility guys today is sending the dog to a place or sending the dog to a target. We are going to be able to use this for directional purposes. So the more distance we build on this behaviour, the further distance control we're going to have on our dogs, meaning less running you guys have to do in the ring, which always results in quicker rounds. So it's going to be very beneficial for all your agility guys in the ring. What are we going to do? We're going to pick a target, and you could use a completely different target to what we were using for our contacts, or you can use exactly the same target. It's up to you. It doesn't have to be raised. It could be a mat. It could be a disc, so the dog can't actually fit on it, but they can contact it. But the idea is that we're able to send the dog from a distance to that target. Then being able to get the dog to do a stationary behaviour, so whether it's a stand stay or a sit stay or a down stay, it's being able to just to hold the dog in that position, and then you being able to move on from kit to kit. How are we going to do this? We're going to pick our target and we're going to place a piece of food on our target for the first couple of reps. We're going to send the dog to the target, and we're just going to work on our verbal cue of going to the target. So my cue is going to be go. We then, once the dog's picking it up, we're going to reward the dog for being at the target. Once the dog is holding their position at the target, we're going to then look at adding on our behaviour. So whether it be a sit, a down or a stand, it's just a stationary stop position. So go to the target and stop. We can then start adding more difficulty to the exercise from there. Okay, so I've loaded my mat with food. Okay, so in preparation for next week when we start adding on our behaviour, when the dog gets to the mat, what we need is the dog to anticipate something else happening when they get there. So we're going to load the mat with food, we're going to send the dog to the mat. Once the dog's at the mat and he's eating the treat, we're either going to throw another treat at the mat, or we're going to go in ourselves and feed the dog for being on the mat. Yes. Good girl. House. Matt. Yes. So that's our sending the dog to the mat behaviour. And like I said, it can be done with a target or anything like that. Mat, their bed, is a place to send the dog to. And it's a distance control. So being able to send our dog from a distance to a place. And we can place that mat out or that target out anywhere and then being able to send our dog to it. Then we started to build anticipation in the dog's head that once they got to the mat and they found their treat, that you were going to come in and feed the dog again or throw a treat to the mat. So what then started to happen is the magnetism in the dog. The dog started to stay on the mat afterwards rather than coming back to me. And you could see in that last one, I tried to call her back and she didn't want to come. She wanted to stay at the mat. So that's working. The dog's gravitating towards that mat and staying on the mat. The next thing we need to do is to look at adding in that behaviour. So for now, I just want you to work on sending the dog to the mat and building that anticipation into the dog that once they're at the mat, that something else is good is going to happen so that they stay there and then we can start working on that behaviour. Anyway, good luck.